Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, moni wanji, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jed Lee, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so honored and so very delighted that you would join us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to tell all of your family and friends about the show, and please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher Radio, Himalaya, Ghana, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is Kim T.S. She is joining us from Manila in the Philippines to celebrate Feeling All My Feelings. Before we invite Kim into the studio, we want to invite you to connect with us on social media. Facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram, at Jedley Magic on Twitter. We also want to invite you to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. If you're an author, please click on the author's Click Here button at the top of the page to find out how we can help you celebrate your book with the world by being a guest, entering it into our Certified Great Read program, or being part of our monthly promotion program. And also, we absolutely want you to check out our brand new website. It is launching January 1st. It's called Drawing with Your Kids. You are going to love it. Join us right now from Manila in the Philippines. Our guest is here today to celebrate a beautiful book. It's called Feeling All My Feelings. Please welcome to the show, Kim T.S. Hey, Kim, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I'm delighted to have you. I always love to speak to somebody who's in the future.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm talking to you on November 8th, and you're in the morning in November 9th, and
True. Sorry for being so slow.
No, it's just a stupid little joke I use with all my friends on the other side of the world. But we're living in this magical time. Here we are, we're literally on the opposite sides of the world. And we're able to not only speak to each other without much of a, I shouldn't say without much of a delay, I'll jinx it, but we're able to speak to each other, we hear each other, we're able to look into each other's homes. And It's a beautiful, amazing thing.
It is. Technology is so amazing.
Yeah. But the one thing technology doesn't seem to be able to help us with is to understand our feelings.
That's true. That's very true.
So how will Feeling All My Feelings help kids start to understand what it is they're feeling at different points in the day?
So the reason I wrote the book is because my son, when he was around 2 to 3 years old, he really had the biggest feelings. And it went all the way until he was 5 before he could finally manage his own emotions. So anger was the biggest emotion that we really had a struggle with. Like, he would go from being irritated to in a rage in just a few seconds or minutes. And I wanted to write a book for him to help him understand that all these emotions are okay, they're normal. And even I experience these emotions as well. I think it's a big deal for kids to know that somebody understands them, and that what they're feeling is normal and okay. Because a lot of the times I think kids feel talked down on, right? Or like they don't feel as respected, and they're always bossed around. So it's very empowering for them to know that somebody's listening to them, to know that somebody's telling them that you're doing okay. Like, it's normal. You're just a kid. You're working through these things, right? Yeah. Even an adult has a hard time with emotions a lot of the times. What more, a little kid just came into the world, right?
Yeah.
Just a few years old. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping my book will do for a lot of kids and parents out there. I want parents to talk to their kids about their emotions and to let them know about their own experiences as well. So I'm hoping my book will open up conversations about these things.
And I think that that's the key. is talking to your kids about these feelings.
Yes.
Helping them understand that they're not the only ones who are feeling these feelings.
Exactly.
One of the things that I've noticed, both when my kids were going, especially in middle school, especially with my son, something I've noticed as I've traveled around the United States performing in different schools, is there's a lot of kids out there who think that they have to pretend that they know everything because they're afraid that everybody else knows everything. I'm the only one who doesn't know anything, so I have to pretend. And I remember being at a school one day and just saying, guys, just relax. None of y'all know anything. Just settle down and enjoy your common ignorance and just help. You're going to get it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Very smart thing to say.
Yeah. So the idea of sitting down, as you were talking about, my son was having trouble dealing with his emotions at 3, and now he's 5 and he's dealing with them much better. I mean, I know people who are 50 who are still having a hard time dealing with their emotions.
Yeah,
so
same here.
Hats off to your son.
Thank you.
What was his reaction? Because, what you're advocating is for families to sit down and read your book and have these conversations with their kids about their feelings. You just went through this. What was your son's initial reaction when you first read Feeling All My Feelings with him?
Oh, he found it so amazing. Like, he was so proud to have a book about him. So he's Kyle the monkey. He's my main character. And it helped us. Like, when he was starting to have a tantrum, I'd get the book and read it to him, and he would calm down. And that really helped us. But after a while, of course, it didn't work all the time. After a while, he got used to it. So I tried a different strategy. I told him, nobody will buy our book, because if it doesn't work, nobody will buy it. That worked.
And that worked. We have a budding capitalist here, I think. This is what.
Yes. He's my number one fan and my number one promoter. Like, in online school, you keep promoting my book and plugging it in front of us. And all his classmates bought the book.
Now, Feeling All My Feelings was your first book. You also have written 2 more. Before we talk about the books, I want to ask you, did you always dream of being a children's author?
Well, I always loved writing. Like, even as a kid, I had a ton of diaries. Like, I'd write my own songs and poems. And I've always wanted to be an author. I just never really found the time or the energy to do it. Mm-hmm. But back in late 2019, my dad passed away. And it really gave me the courage to seize the day and to finally do it. I found the time. And so I finished writing it in 2019, but it took me a while to finish the illustrations. I'm better at writing than at illustrating. So I finally published it in late 2021. It took 2 years, but it was mostly because I didn't have the inspiration, the creative juices to do the drawings.
Well, I don't think people can blame you for not having a lot of creative juices after the death of your dad and raising a 3-year-old with some, tantrum issues. And by the way, we're like in the middle of a global pandemic. So I think we can excuse you for not having all the energy that you wanted. So what's the second book that you wrote?
The second book is Feeling All My Anger. So I decided to write that one since it's our biggest struggle. Mm-hmm. And it's the same. It's really about reassuring kids that it's okay to feel angry. Like, there are no bad feelings. They're just things that you feel, right? Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to give tips, like different strategies that work for us, mm-hmm. about like taking deep breaths, calming down, giving hugs, things that really encourage parents to work through it with their kids.
Yeah. I love, we've had all sorts of authors on the show with doctorates and all these degrees and giving out advice. And I love that. But I think just as valuable is advice from one parent to another. That's like, hey, I'm going through this with my kid, and this worked for us, and maybe it will work for you too.
Exactly. That's really what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Now, when you're talking about, teaching your kid that no feeling is bad and that everybody feels anger and it's okay to feel anger, you're not telling your kids that it's okay to be angry and to run around the house, destroying the house and hitting other people. How do you help them understand that? How do you help them understand that, okay, it's one thing to feel this, but it's another thing to learn how to deal with it appropriately?
Yeah. So the main message of my book is that I am stronger than my anger. So it's okay to feel angry, but there are things that you can do, because anger can become dangerous when you let it get out of control and explode like a volcano. You might hurt somebody in words or actions.
Mm-hmm.
Like even your words can hurt other people.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to teach kids.
And I think that's a really important lesson too. And I think it's something kids can relate to.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. Was your son kind of disappointed when you said, I have to get these under control? I don't like that. I just like being angry and running around and breaking things.
He does like being angry, actually. I don't know if it's like a pride thing. Like he'll tell me, like I'll make him laugh and he'll giggle a little bit, and then he'll say, "No, I'm still angry. I want to stay angry." And I'm saying, "Why do you want to stay angry?" He said, I don't want to be happy. I want to be angry." Maybe it's sort of like he wants to be in control. I'm not sure, but yeah. But after a while, I think I just kept explaining to him that. Why are you trying to keep your anger? You have to let go of it, right? You're hurting me. You're hurting my feelings, right? You're hurting yourself. And I think after a while, he finally did get that. I think he also matured this past year.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he's a very mature young guy, and I'm sure you're very proud of him.
Yes, I am. I am very proud of him. Like at first, I was really like, when you're a new mom, you have all of these like worries and mom guilt, and I kept thinking, am I doing something wrong? Like, am I being a bad parent? Why is my kid always acting up? Like I see all these other kids, they don't have the same issues with the tantrums. Like they have tantrums, but not quite as much, or not quite as like with the magnitude of what my son and I were experiencing. But after a while, I realized, like, every family is different, every parent, every child is different. Like, for me, it really has to do a lot with the kid's innate temperament. I think he takes after his dad, who also has an explosive temper, and his dad shared with me that when he was little, he also had a lot of anger inside of him. And he wasn't able to work through it until he was like in his teenage years or an adult already. So he's happy that our son is able to really work through it as early as now.
Yeah. And what a gift to your son to be able to manage those so that he doesn't have to deal with them when he's in middle school, and where, a tantrum or, an explosive temper can really get him hurt or land him into some trouble.
Yeah.
Now, the third book that you wrote, I understand that you wrote this with some kids. I think the name of the book is The Crew of the Mighty Red Cuda?
Cuda.
Cuda.
Yeah, that's short for Barracuda.
Ah, okay. Tell us about this book.
So I wanted to give back. I just felt that I wanted to do something for a good cause. And my son loves writing books, so I thought of doing a kids collaboration. But my kid isn't quite there yet when it comes to the level of quality of his books. And I have a friend with a son who's 9 years old, who has been illustrating and writing his own books ever since he was 4 years old. And he loves pirates, and I took a look at his work, and I saw that the drawings were really quite amazing for me. All the pirate ships had so much detail, and I said, why don't we collaborate? Like, I'll publish your book I'll improve the drawings. Let's edit the story a bit, and whatever profits we make, let's donate it to Angat Buhay Foundation, which is a non-government foundation that I really support and believe in.
Mm-hmm. And what is that foundation? How do they help?
So they really focus on the most marginalized sectors in the Philippines. And they focus on education, they focus on empowering the communities for their livelihood programs. They also help whenever there are calamities, which happen a lot in the Philippines. We just had a typhoon recently. So I really believe in what they're doing, and I really know that whatever funds we raise will be used for a good cause. And I asked them to focus specifically on education. Because in the Philippines, the World Bank found that 9 out of 10 kids aged 10 still can't read very well. Like, they still struggle reading basic text. And I think that's very alarming. I mean, reading, writing, it's so important. And more than that, right? Critical thinking. Mm-hmm. We're battling so much fake news now. Mm-hmm. Everywhere in the world, but especially in the Philippines. So I think that improving the level of education is a very crucial thing to do to help the country.
Yeah. And, I want to take this time. Can you tell us a little bit about the Philippines? It's one of these countries that people have heard of. There are people from the Philippines who live all over the world and are contributing in so many different places. And, I thought I knew a lot about, there's 700 islands in the Philippines. And you said, no, there's 7,000 islands. So, that's, it's one of these places that we hear about, but we don't really know a little bit. So can you, in a few minutes, just tell us a little bit about your nation?
Yes, definitely. So, the thing that I want to promote really is our beaches. We have the most beautiful beaches in the world, like Boracay, Palawan. We have white sand beaches, beautiful waters. And the people here are really the most friendly, I think. Everywhere you go, you'll see people smiling. Most people know how to speak English, so you won't have a hard time going around. Everybody's so helpful, right? And it's very, well, they say it's more fun in the Philippines because everybody just tries to make the most out of every situation. I mean, we're sorry for the word, attacked by so many different typhoons, mm-hmm. storms, calamities, earthquakes, right? And it happens so often that people get used to it. They just pick themselves right back up. But mm-hmm. it's really very, a lot of bad things happen, but it's surprising because you wouldn't know it mm-hmm. based on looking at the people. They're still smiling, they're still living their lives, trying to make the most out of it. Yeah. But a lot of things, we really have to work on a lot of things to improve the standard. I mean, it is a very poor country, mm-hmm. and it is a very, the level of education really is far from the standard, right? And I really hope that we can change that. Yeah. Because there's really no way to improve the lives of people if they don't even have the basic education, right? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really important message to get out there. And it's what our show is all about, giving kids the foundation that they need to really succeed in life. And it really starts by reading with our kids, by taking yes. time, reading with our kids, 20 minutes a day, every single day, giving them that advantage of hearing over 800,000 more words than their peers who haven't been read to. And while we're taking the time to help our kids, give our kids that foundation, let's also be mindful of the fact that there are a lot of other families out there who would like to give the same thing to their kids, but there are all sorts of barriers. So let's work together to knock down all those barriers, lift everybody up.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Kim, where can we go to find out more about Feeling All My Feelings and all of your books and find out more about you?
My website is kimtsbooks.com. That's Kim, then T as in Tango, S as in Sierra, and then books.com. And I'm also everywhere. Same handle. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you name it, I'm there. I have a YouTube channel.
Awesome. Well, we've had a really fun time speaking to the author of Feeling All My Feelings, Kim T.S. Hey, Kim, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be coming to us from New Zealand. Her name is Emma Pearl. She'll be here to celebrate Mending the Moon, and she's going to be telling you about her fairly famous uncle that you may have heard of, especially if you've ever read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm not going to tell you anymore. Check it out. Emma Pearl, the next episode of the podcast. Hey, please tell all of the authors, all of the aspiring authors that you know, to visit readingwithyourkids.com and ask them to click on the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page. We want to help them celebrate their book with the world. They can be a guest here on the podcast. Being a guest is fun, it's easy, it gives you the chance in a long-form conversation to tell the world about your book, your inspiration, your plans for the future. You can also submit your book to our Certified Great Read program and take part in our monthly promotion program. You and your aspiring author friends can learn all about that at readingwithyourkids.com and clicking on the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, I want to start by thanking our guest, Kim T.S. Please be sure to check out Feeling All My Feelings. Also want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Mirabella Q, Jordan Saley, Stephanie Davila, Skylar Strauss. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.